Okay, ignore my desk setup, but I am deciding between using this one and this one, but I think I'm just gonna use this one because it's bigger and bigger is better. So we're gonna go with this one. Okay, I'm just going to get straight into the drawing and start out by measuring my paper to match up the proportions with the reference image. Really just getting the boring stuff out of the way, which was to first draw like a really rough sketch of the ice cream, but I completely forgot to record it. I wasn't even recording. Anyways, what do you think? I'm done. So they're just gonna look at it. Alrighty, time to fix up the sketch. And indeed, it was time to fix up this sketch because what is that? I'm going to lose the accent now, and I'm just going to focus on trying to make this look nicer. And hey, that outline looks pretty good, but for some reason, it kind of looks like those ice cream cones you draw in like kindergarten. But you know what? Hopefully it'll look better with some details added on it. Okay, the top of the ice cream cone is coming together, but I got impatient and I started working on the waffle cone portion instead. Alright, so the sketch is done, but for some reason something feels a little bit off. Like it feels a little too tall and the ice cream feels a little off-centered. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out my scissors and I'm going to just chop up this piece of paper and hopefully it looks better. Okay, I think I'm liking that a lot more better now. Tell me what you think, but honestly, when you tell me, it'll be too late, and you know what? My opinion is I like it. Anyways, let's take out the colors now. Okay, so I currently own a set of Crayola markers, some pencils that I have from years back, and some crayons, and don't worry about that. Anyways, this is what we have to work with. So usually when I draw, I barely have a plan. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start with a marker or with markers as the base and just like color in the background and the main ice cream. So let me whip out my kneadable eraser and just start kind of erasing and making the lines a little bit lighter. Okay, and now let's start swatching colors. I'm looking for a orangey brown shade for some of the stones on the ice cream, and I have like the tiniest piece of paper next to me, so I'm going to swatch on that. I think I'm just going to go with the first one that I swatched. That one looks like the closest match to what I want. And you know what? That kind of looks a little too orange, but it's okay. I'm just going to trust the process. Okay, I want to take a break from the orange because it's getting a little, I don't know, scary. So I'm going to take these colored pencils and I'm going to work on that top portion. And this is where I feel like I can begin to tell that it was definitely AI generated, just because what even is that thing? I mean, first of all, obviously none of this would really exist in real life, but second of all, it kind of resembles a honeycomb to me. Or maybe like a wasp's nest. I don't know. I'm just going to draw it and hopefully it'll come together with the rest of the drawing. And you know what? You tell me what you think about that. Actually, don't tell me yet because it's not finished yet. And next to that light pink, it honestly looks so atrocious. And now I'm going in with a teal colored pencil. Okay, here's my update / check-in. I don't really know where this is going so far. It's kind of looking like a kid's drawing, especially up here. This thing is looking more like a honeycomb, just something that doesn't belong on an ice cream cone. And I don't know what's going down. I can't speak. What's going on down here? Let's try to fix that. And that is exactly what I did. I took a bunch of different colors and just kind of went at it. At this point, I was still referring to my reference photo, of course. I was doing that throughout the whole drawing process, but I took more of like creative freedom here. And also, I remember working on this from morning 8 a.m. and then by the time I was finished, it was like 1 a.m. So by the time it got to more color heavy, I was just getting so tired of it. And I just kind of like went for it and laid down a bunch of colors at once. Also, side note, I've discovered that with these markers, you can kind of use it like how you would use an alcohol marker. So what you do is, see how like when I drew a line, there was a little bit at the end? You just wipe it off And honestly, it looks just as plain as using an alcohol marker. Even if you do a bunch of them, like a bunch of lines at once, you'll just have that teeny little water droplet at the end. I don't know what to call it. And you can just swatch it away and it looks like you used alcohol markers. So, a little hack. This little corner on this left side gave me such a hard time. I don't know why. I mean, it was supposed to be darker than the rest, so maybe that's why. But it had more purples in it than orange, and I kind of wanted to bring in more of that orangey tone because it kind of looked out of place. So this one was definitely a little bit of a struggle for me. Even in this time lapse, you can see me like hesitate on where I'm supposed to be putting the markers down. It was fun though. And now we have to relive all that struggle again for the bottom part. But honestly, I feel like the bottom part will be a lot more tame because it's just, I'm going to just use 2 different colors for the cone. And I'm thinking that I can go in with colored pencil later for the details, so I'm not too worried. But there are 2 pieces of like bedazzlement. You see those like round swirls that kind of interrupt that checkered pattern of the cone? Those are going to be the bedazzled pieces. So am I worried for them? I mean, not too much, but I am like slightly concerned about how it's gonna look, but you know what? It's fine. I'm sure it'll be fine. For now, let's just focus on getting this waffle cone portion done. About done with the top part of the waffle cone, and I'm going to move on to the bedazzled pieces now because I'm impatient, and I found a Silly Scents marker, so I have to use it. And honestly, it says Silly Scent, but it doesn't smell like anything. But then again, I have a really bad sense of smell, so might just be that. But I'm just gonna go in with this yellow and make one of the pieces completely yellow, and then go on the other side and start coloring in those jewels. You know, similar to the top, going in with markers and colored pencils and like laying down the base. None of this is really the finished product yet, and I mean on camera the top portion might not look that odd, but in real life it looks whack. And don't worry, it's like not finished. But I kind of want to take a break from that and go on to the background, for which there is supposed to be like an out of view, out of focus bush in the background. And I didn't really think about how I'm going to go about making it look like a blendy, out of focus background. But one of my first plans is to maybe like draw it in circular motions. Yeah, I think that sounds like a good plan. I'm just going to draw in circular motions. So I'll practice that once on this like teeny tiny piece of paper. And hopefully that works on the actual thing. Alright everybody, I just laid the first green onto the background, and I mean it's literally the first one, so I don't know how to feel about it. Let's just, you know, take a moment and go in with a couple more greens. I feel like the more greens I use, the more convincing of a bush it'll look like. And while I'm at it, might as well do the ice cream cone portion too. Okay, now that is relatively done with, I'm going to go ahead and clean up my workspace because it looks a mess. Yeah, that's right. I clean up in 2x speed. No, but that was really just an excuse to hear the ASMR marker cleanup noise. I really liked that. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and finish up the background, including the fabric piece, because I really have no idea what I'm doing. So I'm just going to quickly lay down some marker everywhere, and then I can get like a nice layout of the land, if you will. Okay. So here's the update. I was just thinking like, okay, maybe I'll blend out the markers with the markers themselves. And I tried doing that. And I feel like you can't even tell that this is supposed to be like greenery, bushes, trees, and whatnot. It kind of just looks like, I don't even know what it looks like. It looks like a camo pant gone wrong. And to try to fix that, what happened the other day, I got some water on my finger and I accidentally touched the drawing right here. And as you can see, it looks like that water blended it out. And I mean, Crayola markers are water-based, so I have seen people make watercolor with these markers. So I'm thinking I can just use water to go and like blend out the background. And I didn't test out this plan yet, except for that accident that happened right there. And yeah, I just kind of went ahead and put marker everywhere, hoping that this plan would work. So it's gotta work. I have my bottle cap collection here, and I'm just gonna take one of these out, pour some water in there, and try to blend everything out with a Q-tip. Alrighty, moment of truth. I have my little water thingy right here. Okay, it is working, but it seems like the water kind of lifts up the pigment. I mean, it is blending. You know what? I'm just gonna stop talking and I'm gonna try this out. Okay, if you ask me, that looks pretty blended, but this area looks a little lacking. I'm going to try and swatch some shades of green, lay that over this area so it doesn't look as atrocious. Okay, so I feel like that looks pretty good now, and I am actually kind of shocked that that worked, but I do want to add in a little bit more like purpley bushes. Okay, that side is well and done, and I'm pretty happy with it. And I feel like the blending method really worked because it was more like blurrier, but these are supposed to be more straight lines, which kind of worries me. So I'm going to use a paintbrush for that. And let's see if it works as well. And if not, then I have to devise another plan. But I feel like it's not working. Oh. So that in fact did not work, so I'm going to avoid that and go on to the ice cream instead because I'm scared of the background. Shape here and another shape here and dragging it down. Wow, what beautiful real-time narration. I think it's very instructional that I'm making a shape here and there and dragging it down. Anyways, I am drawing in the purple fabric now. And I'm also going to go ahead and draw in the rest of the colors for the background as well. So here I'm trying to tackle that blue fabric because it's like a dead giveaway that I drew it with markers. So I'm going in with a second layer to hopefully mask the fact that there's so many lines showing. Okay, this is where things kind of go wrong because I saw in the reference image that there was some golden details on the blue fabric. So I tried adding those with this colored pencil and oh my gosh, it looked so bad. So I have to go in with my electric eraser and erase all those and basically start over from square one. But honestly, I would not be happier to be at square one because oh my gosh, it just looked like vomit. Okay, this is the last bit we have to do, and I'm so sorry, but I kind of technically cheated because I used Apple Barrel instead of Crayola. But here's the thing, Crayola paint was more expensive, and I don't own that, so I'm not going to go out of my way to buy something that works pretty similar to something I already have. Anyways, I'm going to take this crusty paintbrush of mine that I use to scoop out paint, and I'm going to put it in this bottle cap. And this is the system I will use to add in the final details of the drawing. Also, I don't know what happened to the paint, but the paper on top was stuck to it and it just created this gross film on top. But anywho, I've now scooped my paint and I'm going to grab this old safety pin that I don't use anymore and I'm going to use that to create the details. So I'm going to first lay down some details on the ice cream cone portion, and I feel like this is where the drawing really begins to shine because you're really sold on the idea that there are gems on the drawing. Like, it would be so incomplete without this step. Also, while doing this, I ran into an issue, which is where the marker from the paper was lifting onto my hand because I was kind of nervous and I was sweating. And so I had to put this tissue paper underneath, and that solved all my problems. So back at the drawing I go. And also, I didn't know what I wanted to do with this blue fabric, and I didn't want to leave it blank. So I decided to just take my own creative liberty and just make random designs with the white paint on it. And now just adding some final details and final touches, and let's see the final drawing.